Hello and welcome to Firearm Freedom. This is going to be another First Impressions video. Before we get the First Impressions video started, I just wanted to let you all know that we do have a Firearm Freedom merchandise store live. The link for that is down in the description below, and anything you purchase on that merchandise store will go directly into supporting everything that we do here on Firearm Freedom. In today's First Impressions video, we're going to be taking a look at a really interesting piece of gear for training. The Mantis X10 dry fire or live fire training system that actually works for pistols, it works for shotguns, and it also works for rifles as well. Now, as always, guys, full disclosure, Mantis did send me the X10 training system to check out. I had been looking at the Mantis system for quite some time. They were super gracious and were able to actually send me this unit to take a look at. They just wanted a completely unbiased and honest review. The Mantis training system has been kind of floating around in the social media world for quite some time, and I thought it was a little bit gimmicky at first. I thought in my head, how accurate could this system be? Is it actually effective? I just wanted to try it out for myself. I have around 630 trigger presses in this Mantis training system. All of that practice was with my H&K VP9 here, which is my concealed carry option. Basically, what comes with your tiny little unit here with this particular model is an attachment to run it on a standard 12 gauge shotgun barrel that has a rail underneath, and then you also have some additional pieces for just that, and this small little carrying case here with a charging cord. You will actually be able to download an app, and you are able to turn on the Mantis X training program with this button and then actually just slide it onto your pistol. Now, you guys are going to be seeing a lot of back roll on how exactly you can filter through all of the different settings that the app has. It is, quite frankly, a little bit overwhelming at first because there is just so many different options of things that you can do. If you are doing dry fire practice, you can actually go ahead and select exactly which setting you want, whether that's dry fire, live fire, or actually CO2 powered. What it is basically doing is analyzing your trigger pull, analyzing your grip, and the moment that the trigger breaks, the system is really sensitive and it's going to feel that, and it gives you indications on how that trigger pull was. Now, when we are talking live fire practice, it's going to give you a little bit more than that because obviously with the recoil that the gun's going to have, it's going to send the system a little bit more violently, and it's going to give you more of a feedback. It's quite a bit easier to get a better score during dry fire practice. It is going to score you every single trigger pull. Now, the system is going to allow you to rack the slide and reset the trigger if you are working with a striker fired pistol, and it's going to account for that slide rack exactly like you would be getting some recoil at the range. If you have a poor shot, or if you are consistently pulling a shot, whether that be lower left, lower right, or just all the way to the left, all the way to the right, it gives you an entire pie chart that's going to show you exactly that. And you can actually click on that poor shot, which sends out a really bad red looking line, and it's going to actually tell you a brief description on what may be causing that. Now, one of the biggest pros that I saw as soon as I started using this Mantis X was it encourages you to train more. It encourages you to dry fire. So whether or not it is actually increasing your skills, I kind of thought that was a less of a point to the fact that it is actually making me dry fire. It is making me want to practice at home and almost create a little bit of a game with myself to increase my own personal score. You can follow people and different things like that to see how everybody's doing. I love dry firing, but it's really easy to have kind of your ADD kick in at home and have your mind wandering, and 5 or 10 minutes later, you're kind of not all that into it. It's a lot easier to want to dry fire practice when you can actually see your progress and track it a little bit more accurately with this system. And another huge reason for that when you first start off is their little basic marksmanship program. And as you can see here with the patch that they actually send you when you complete the basic marksmanship program, you will have a lot of stages to complete. and what you basically do is go through each stage, and that's going to have a bunch of different things. You can do this with dry fire or live fire, and it's going to have you actually log back in daily a lot of the time, and I really love that feature. One note to Mantis that I would highly recommend is to potentially expand on this marksmanship program a little bit. At the moment, they just have that basic marksmanship program. Once you complete it, it's awesome, but I haven't really found anything else after that basic marksmanship program that is similar, other than just continuing to do the small features that the app has. And I would love to see more of an advanced program or different layers to this, and maybe not even having to get anything in the mail, but it was just definitely fun to have that additional feature where you're trying to compete with yourself to earn that basic marksmanship status. And the other huge positive about this system is while you are dry firing, there's nobody standing over you watching every single time you pull that trigger. So although mentally you're trying to get as exact of a trigger pull each and every time that you should be getting, it's really easy to not really see exactly what you're doing because you're just kind of going with the flow. This system tells you every single time you pull the trigger what your score is looking like. And you may think you have an incredible trigger pull. You might think you're super good. Most of the time, most people are not. But this system is going to tell you otherwise. It really makes you much more conscious of slowing it down, feeling the trigger pull, feeling when it's going to break, and keeping an eye on that front sight, not losing sight of it, really seeing exactly when the trigger pull breaks, where that front sight is going, if there's movement there. And I found that after a while, I started getting to the point where as soon as I saw that front sight, I was so much more hyper-focused on it that I knew exactly, okay, I'm going to have a bad shot there, or okay, that was going to be a better shot. Overall, I would say this is an extremely easy to use system, and it's very portable. It comes in this small little case. You don't have a lot of wires coming out anywhere. Something doesn't have to be connected to it, and it's very streamlined. As soon as you press this on button, as long as your app is open, it just connects just like that. And I've never experienced any issues of the system not connecting. The battery life has been great. I don't have an exact minute or hour count of the battery life, but I can tell you guys I've been using this for pretty much now 2 to 3 months, and I've only had to charge it once. And that was not because the battery died. It was just simply because I did not want it to die when I was at the range and did not have a way to charge it. Now, there's not many cons to this system. The biggest con that I can see is it is a very large difference from how the system acts at home with dry fire practice and then getting it to the range for live fire practice. Now, I was really getting kind of the confidence build up at home of getting constant scores of 94, 95, 98 with dry fire practice. And as soon as I went to the range, I was kind of thinking I was going to get somewhat of the same thing. And immediately I saw how much more difficult it was with the Mantis being on my pistol at the range for live fire practice. I found myself kind of hyper analyzing every single movement that I had to get a proper score, and I didn't realize how many things were falling into play there and how many things the system was reading. It almost had me overthinking every trigger pull that I had. So that was the only thing that I saw definitely took a lot to get used to. Now, with that being said, towards the end of the range day, I had limited to no issues using this and just kind of getting a better idea. Now, in order to see exactly what was going on at the range, the biggest thing that I wanted to test out was what was happening on paper. The first time I made the mistake of not shooting paper with it, but shooting steel. And I realized really quickly that there was no way for me to tell if the Mantis was actually being accurate because I couldn't tell that if the system was reading a low left shot, I was still striking the steel. The next range day that I went back with the Mantis X, I actually put up a paper target, and you guys are going to be seeing that in back roll now. And I found that the Mantis X is actually a pretty accurate little system, and every single time it noted something on the app, it absolutely reciprocated that and showed it on paper downrange. So if the app told me that I was a little bit low left on that shot or a little bit high right, or maybe I was slapping the trigger, I could see that on the paper. Now, it may not have been extremely dramatic. It may not have been 4 inches down to the left, and the app is not going to tell you that. It's not going to tell you exactly where your shots are hitting. It's just going to tell you how you pulled that trigger, how you broke the shot off. So it's not going to help as much with accuracy, at least in the short term, because it's not going to show you downrange. But what it is going to help you with is how you are gripping the gun and how you are pulling the trigger and how you are handling recoil, which effectively is going to translate down into accuracy a little bit later on after you've been practicing a little bit more. And overall, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up about the Mantis X10 first impressions video. The price point makes it fairly affordable for anybody who's just looking to get a little bit more practice at home, and I just think this has a lot of potential. This is a fairly new setup within the past couple of years, and I think it's just going to continue to grow over time, and I'm very excited to get this on some long guns next to really try it out at the range for a full review. If you guys have any questions about the Mantis system, throw them down below in the comment section, and you guys know I always will get back to you. And while you're down there, check out that description. It will have a link to the brand new Firearm Freedom B channel, a link to the Firearm Freedom Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram account where we do daily posts that you guys are not going to want to miss out on. If you enjoy the content that's coming out here on the Firearm Freedom YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so you never miss out on anything that we post every single month. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, stay tuned for more great videos to come soon.